me to understand is that even though the outcome of this election is the same as the 2016 election, the Trump who is about to become president is different.
Donald Trump is much more organized. He knows what he's doing, has a series of distinct policy objectives that he's reiterated again and again. It will be in a lot of ways fundamentally different than what we all lived through 4 years ago.
What's up YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. Today guys, we're back giving a new video. Today we're going to be checking out how Trump's second term will be different. I believe it's going to be different. I don't know about everyone, but I'm very certain it's going to be different. Let's check the video out together because Trump right now, President Trump, is the 47th US president. Let's get right to this video.
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
So I think we should start off by just saying what's happening, and then my big question is going to be, how should we be thinking about this?
We now know that Donald Trump is returning to the White House. American voters have seen what Trump had to offer, and at least a critical mass of them decided they want to do the same thing again.
I called up some colleagues at VOX to ask what we should be making of this moment, and I ended up spending a long time talking to Zach.
I'm Zach Beecham. I'm a senior correspondent at VOX.
Zach writes about reactionary politics, the right wing, basically. And the thing that he really wanted me to understand is that even though the outcome of this election is the same as the 2016 election, the Trump who is about to become president is different.
Donald Trump is much more organized. He knows what he's doing, has a series of distinct policy objectives that he's reiterated again and again. It will be in a lot of ways fundamentally different than what we all lived through 4 years ago.
True. Certainly.
Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary. Lock them up.
The first time Trump was president, he wanted to do all sorts of very controversial things, and a lot of times he didn't actually end up doing them. One big example is wanting his critics and political opponents to be prosecuted. He was constrained by other parts of the political system, the guardrails of democracy. I'm Andrew Prokop. I cover politics. The guardrails encompass first Congress and the courts. But also within the executive branch, you have Trump's own appointees for top positions who often last time around proved unwilling to carry out some of the things he wanted to do. Then you also have the permanent civil service, career employees that he can't fire at will. First of all, the courts have grown more conservative and more Trump-friendly since he put 3 of his own appointees in the Supreme Court. Congressional Republicans have grown much more pro-Trump. Trump and the people around him want hardcore MAGA true believers staffing the government who will not have these pesky qualms about legality or ethics or things like that. And regarding the civil service, Trump wants to use an executive order to reclassify thousands of people with civil service protections against firing as political appointees who he can fire, to then put in a lot of MAGA loyalists in their place instead. Wow. He's had 4 years to basically stew over, what he didn't get to do last time and what he would do differently if he was given another chance. And now he will seemingly get that chance.
We're going to have the largest deportation in the history of our country.
The mantra that Trump had on the border on 2016 was build the wall. That was his centerpiece of his immigration platform. That sort of changed over the course of his presidency, and increasingly he wanted to turn his attention not to the border, but to the interior of the US, the undocumented population here. I'm Nicole Norea, and I cover politics and immigration for VOX. Under Biden, there were record levels of people arriving on the border. We've seen those numbers come down significantly in 2024, but when Americans are polled, large portions of them say that they want mass deportations. They might be thinking about people being deported immediately after they arrive on the border, but that's not what Trump's contemplating. He's trying to go into communities across the US, and we're talking about people who have lived here, for years and decades. That would sort of involve huge investments in law enforcement and also the cooperation of local law enforcement agencies, which I'm not sure we would see necessarily in Democratic states, but let's say in states like Texas and Florida, certainly you might find law enforcement willing to cooperate with federal immigration authorities there.
A landmark decision in American history as it relates to presidential power.
When Trump initially took office, the median vote on the Supreme Court was a moderate conservative, someone who would draw the line somewhere. Then Trump appointed a third of the United States Supreme Court. I'm Ian Millhiser. I cover the Supreme Court at VOX. Trump v. United States is the decision that came down last July concerning Special Prosecutor Jack Smith's indictment of Trump for trying to steal the 2020 presidential election. Trump made this really outlandish argument that he could not be charged with the crime for any official acts he committed while president. Pretty much everyone thought that that argument was silly and ridiculous, and there was no chance that the court would ever adopt it. And then all 6 of the Republican justices adopted it. What that decision said, it said that Donald Trump is immune from criminal prosecution for crimes that he commits using the official powers of office. Trump is allowed to give any order he wants to the Department of Justice. The basic matter is just that anything he does can potentially be beyond the scope of the criminal justice process.
Just finding out for the first time all this.
More than 40,000 Palestinians killed since the October 7th Hamas massacre.
Right now, the situation on the ground in Gaza is an extraordinary humanitarian crisis and a moral stain on the United States for enabling so much of this to happen. But it can always get worse. Trump has a blank check approach to Israel. He and his advisors don't believe in any of the even feeble restraints that the Biden administration had put on Israeli conduct. There are factions inside the Israeli government that have different visions of how to conduct the war. The extreme right on Netanyahu's flank, people like Bezalel Smotrich and Itamar Ben-Gvir, believe that Trump will let them do what they want based on what he said, what his advisors say, and what his political coalition at home wants.
Are you on board with the way the IDF is taking the fight in Gaza?
You've got to finish the problem.
These people have a maximalist vision of what they want the war to be. Actually seizing and taking Gaza for Israel and returning to settlement, right, to rebuilding Israeli outposts, moving Israeli Jewish citizens in to make sure that its control over the area never slips. That would mean not just temporary eviction of Gazans from their homes and their cities, which would be bad enough. It would mean creating a massive permanent refugee population. Outside of Gaza, in the West Bank, we can only imagine. Previous American position has been you shall not under any circumstances annex parts of the West Bank. It would be Israel declaring, in essence, its willingness to rule over the Palestinians in perpetuity. What I do know for sure is that a Trump administration would do nothing to punish them for it.
Okay, let's make this quick. I'm Adam. I produced this video. I think it is fair to say this is a historic moment. And one thing it shows is that we truly do not know what the future holds. In these next 4 years, journalism is going to be important. Things will be confusing. It will sometimes be a struggle to know exactly what you should be paying attention to. We would like to be a place that you come to have your biggest questions answered, whether on our YouTube channel, our podcasts, our newsletters, our website. Our reporters, like the ones that you have seen in this video, their job is to point you to what actually matters. If you believe in that mission, the best way you can support it is by becoming a VOX member. It supports all the work that we do at VOX, and honestly, it'll also probably just help us do more videos like this that are hopefully bringing you crucial information right when it is most valuable. You can do that at vox.com/memberships. Thanks.
Trump declared he would veto a national abortion ban if he's reelected.
Trump winning the presidency is not good for abortion rights. I mean, he's been out there claiming that he's the father of IVF, that he's going to be great for women's rights, but he surrounds himself with lots of people who absolutely, do not have that as their goal. I'm Rachel Cohen. I cover social policy at VOX, and I've been really focused on abortion rights for the last 2.5 years since Roe was overturned. Something that has been confusing for voters is that I don't think we're going to see a federal ban coming out of Congress. The biggest way that Trump could, I think, use his executive power to restrict abortion rights is to push for the enforcement of the Comstock Act on the federal level. The Comstock Act was this law passed in 1873, and among other things, it banned mailing anything associated with abortion. When the Supreme Court legalized abortion nationwide, the Comstock Act was rendered moot. It didn't matter anymore. But Congress never actually repealed it. Now that Roe has been overturned, you have a bunch of conservatives, including J.D. Vance, who are saying now is the time actually to enforce this zombie law that's been on the books for decades that people forgot about, and we should ban anything associated with abortion from being sent in the mail. So that could include not only abortion pills, which are used in the majority of abortions in the US, but it could also mean any medical equipment associated with, surgical abortion, like dilators or speculums. That would effectively mean a nationwide ban on abortion.
That would be good.
Some might say it's economic nationalism. I call it common sense.
The thing about tariffs is that the president has a lot of unilateral authority to impose them without Congress's will. I'm Eric Levitz, and I write about politics and policy. A tariff is basically a tax on an imported good. Usually the producer passes on the cost of that tax to consumers by charging higher prices to compensate for the tax. Trump's signature proposal on tariffs in the 2024 campaign was a 10% tariff on all foreign imports, regardless of what country they come from and regardless of what kind of good it is, which includes things that the United States cannot possibly produce. There's no tax that you can put on foreign coffee beans that will make it possible to grow them in New England. The general consensus from economists is that this is going to significantly increase prices for Americans, as well as actually potentially undermining American manufacturing. I think that in general, voters tend to be sympathetic to any protectionist trade policy, but I think that in practice, as we've seen in the Biden years, voters are very sensitive to increases in consumer prices. On the other hand, though, this is something that Trump really genuinely seems to believe and hold as a core economic principle, really since the late 1980s.
We let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade.
Put a 25% tax on products that come into the United States.
So that means that Trump plausibly could enact this tariff even if a majority of Republicans in Congress do not want him to.
It's time to put the divisions of the past 4 years behind us. It's time to unite. And we're going to try, we have to try.
In any democratic system of government, you need nonpartisan civil servants whose job it is to follow and implement the law. A lot of that stuff is technical, from National Parks Administration to the way the Defense Department is run, to the way that we protect and store our nuclear weapons. Trump doesn't like this. Neutral rules of governance obstruct his ability to govern like a kind of machine politician who uses government as a tool of rewarding his friends and punishing his enemies. That's why he hates what he calls the deep state.
Demolish the deep state. Obliterate the deep state. Dismantle the deep state.
We could be in a world where very swiftly, because there are no legislative guardrails against this, what if the IRS is now a fully political agency and audits start coming in along political lines? Businesses or media organizations that are critical of Trump start being harassed using the tax code as a means of punishing them. Think about everything that you rely on government to do. And now imagine those tasks being bent towards political ends. Donald Trump is going to be the next president of the United States again. And this time around, we'll make the first time look like child's play.
Okay, I see this are just kind of like assumptions in some parts. And I see a lot of people are terrified that Donald Trump is going to be the president. Donald Trump is the president. It's not going to be. He's the president. Donald Trump is the president of America. A lot of people are terrified. A lot of clips of people planning to run away from America. And they say they're going to... that live in America to England. The tariff, I understand that is a bit high. 25% of tax tariff is really high. If Donald Trump puts up to 25, at least 10% is a bit fair. But I know changes is coming to America. Better changes. The abortion of a thing is what I really love more. I want us to stop the abortion of a thing. Women who say my right, my body, my rights, my rights, my body. Literally, those scraps who take abortion pills and go for surgeries and feel like they can have like 20 abortions in a year, and they don't feel any remorse of what the actions have consequences. Because a lot of people who commit this abortion, a lot of them do not care, literally, about their own body. Because if you care, you'll be very, very careful about the abortion of a thing. A lot of people, they don't even care again. It's really, really serious. For the abortion of a thing, I support Donald Trump 100%. I'm a big fan of him. That's why I got this flag. Ever since he won, I went to get the American flag on an instant. The changes that's coming to America for the border itself, for immigration as a whole, at least we have the borders, the walls will be up. For that, I'm very certain. And illegal immigrants are coming to America is going to be limited, because during Joe Biden and Kamala Harris' tenure, we have over 10 million illegal immigrants who came to America, which is terrible, guys, which is terrible. Uncounted people who came to America, 10 million, guys. That is a massive number of illegal immigrants who came to America. So I know Donald Trump era, such bullshit, such nonsense would never occur. So aside that, the entire video of how they explained it to be, it's really, really beautiful. And I love how they took that time to bring out the courts, the civil servants, the assemblies. They broke every part of the video down in bits, pieces, so you'll be able to understand that Republicans, Donald Trump, have people everywhere. You have people everywhere who have that zeal to make America great again, who have that mega hats on to make America great again, and I'm really, really proud of that. I'm just curious about the changes, and I'm anticipating about the changes that's coming to America. I feel it is going to be good. I don't know about other people who are running away from America, but I know it's going to be good. And I know Donald Trump will know 2016 is not the same Donald Trump who is right here 2024, because that man has been through a lot. He has been through a lot. He has 3 assassination attempts in 1 year. They sued him for how many years? He was sued. He used to be jailed for 700 or something years. Aside that, his businesses, they shut it down. Like, seriously. That man have been through a lot. And he still stands strong. And he's still fighting hard for America. And I know this tenure is going to be amazing. It's going to be good. I feel it in me. Like, it's really, really going to be good. It's going to be for the betterment of everyone. At least the Bible is going to be brought back to America religiously. Religious-wise, America will be more effective. And this LGBTQ continuous later is going to be a bit reduced, because Donald Trump is coming really hard for the movement. Male who are going to female sports to dominate them, it will be cut out. So there are a lot of things that are going to change. A lot of left wings mentality that is going to change. A lot of things that we see as normal right now, that is going to be changed. That were never normal in the first place. Like this male who feel like they're in the wrong body, because Donald Trump did not support such. So there's going to be a lot of changes, and the most important change to me is that the Bible is going to be brought back to America, and America will be more religious than it is right now, because the last 4 years was not pleasant at all. It feels like people left the touch. They lost the touch of God in their life, and they did not see God as priority, and everything that have to do with America have to do with God. So for that itself, for bringing God into American lives, is number one priority for me for actually supporting Donald Trump. And I'm really glad it's back again. Comment down below what you think about this video. Give us a thumbs up. Share this video to as many as you can. Subscribe to our channel, guys. Give us a thumbs up. And we'll see you guys in the next video. And if you are happy Donald Trump is back to office, give us a thumbs up, guys.